Hi, hello, I'm Sam Harrison. I read, review, and discuss fantasy and science fiction books. Today we have a discussion which is going to be a full recap, spoilers, and kind of thoughts and theories on chapter 43 of volume 1 of The Wandering Inn. So, reading straight off of the website here, I will be shifting to the ebooks with volume 2 because I'll be able to combine ebook and audiobook to read a bit quicker. But let's move on. So, this chapter is really interesting because this chapter is essentially all just one conversation. It's quite a short chapter for kind of looking at the past few. Most have been, we haven't had a chapter under like almost 7,000 words since chapter 31, whereas this one's under 6,000. So, short chapter for Pirate Arbor probably would be a novella for some authors. But this chapter, really enjoyed it. I liked how this whole chapter was basically just one conversation, as I was saying. So we meet at the end of the previous Ryoka chapter. She's run through the high passes and she has managed to just like fall over the threshold of the cave of a dragon. And I was told in the comments about some secret extra like sentences in that chapter, which I did find, and I found them in this chapter as well. Don't worry, guys, I found the secret in this chapter. What I have found actually is that I went into the reader settings and I reduced the gap between lines, and it makes it obvious when there's a hidden line. So like there's one here. Let me just select it so you guys can see. So there's a hidden line here, and it's more obvious when you have only single line gap on, a small line gap on rather than the normal line gap. Anyway, so we find out that this is a dragon. I'd kind of thought that anyway, and my thought was like, is this the same dragon that Erin meets in chapter 1 and that she like kind of scares off? Which means that this character has met Erin and Ryoka, of which there's only him and Pisces have met both. So lots going on. And so this dragon, he actually says at the end, he says his name. I'm going to skip all the way to the end. So he says his name is Teriarch. So I don't know, we call him Terry. So Terry the dragon. He's so basically Ryoka's like basically dead. She's got mana poisoning. She's been bitten and chewed and gored by all the horrible monsters that live in the high passes that basically no other runner could survive. And she literally just gets over the threshold, and Terry's like, "All right, I'll heal you." So he heals her, and then basically spends the whole time questioning her. So he talks about, he's like, why don't I examined you, but you don't have any levels. And this is a really interesting story tidbit because this is something that we hadn't actually been told about Ryoka. So even though Ryoka chapters are from her point of view, they're fully from her point of view, she's not, even in her thoughts, her like internal monologue, she hasn't revealed that the reason why she isn't leveling up. And the reason why she isn't leveling up is because she has stopped herself leveling. She's choosing not to. So I don't know what that means or how she's doing it. I'm sure it'll come up later. But basically what's happening is she's going like, I don't need to get levels in being a runner. I'm already an amazing runner. I'm faster than everybody. And something... the way that she talks about running, I don't know whether it's because Pirate Arbor is not a runner and does not really understand distances, like average times. Like you'll often see people who, I say you'll often, we've all seen somebody, I'm sure, on social media be like, "Oh, went out and ran my first K, did it, first 5K, did it in 12 minutes." And you're like, well, the world record is 14 minutes. So, it's a bit more, it's not as obvious as that. It's like, did my first K in 18 minutes. And I often think like, well, you can get people who exercise all the time, like at the gym, whatever, who are in great shape, who look after themselves, and their first 5K still is going to be like 25 minutes. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know whether it's Pirate Arbor is not 100% on how running works, especially on how barefoot running works as well. Like it takes a huge toll on the body. But if Ryoka is able to run the insane distances and as fast as she is, there's definitely something magical going on, something in World probably that is propelling her somehow. Anyway, so she basically articulates that she's not leveling because she doesn't want to, and because she doesn't think it's fair, because she can get better as a runner by running more, and she can be a better runner. She doesn't need skills. I think she's looking on levels and skills almost like a crutch that she doesn't need. A really interesting philosophy. I'd like to see maybe her talk to Erin about this stuff. I'm going to assume the characters will meet by the end of the chapter, end of the volume, and something in this chapter does lead me to believe that they're going to meet soon. But also, so we've got. He says. Terry says to Ryoka, like, I need you to take a letter and a gift to somebody that I'm duty bound to send it to. And she's like, okay, right, fine, I guess. Also, by the way, when he's questioning her, he says, where are you from? She says, Oakland, California. And he's like, where's that? And she says, America. And he's like, oh, okay, whatever. Because she's like truth bound, so she can only say the truth. So interesting. And there's also a bit where he's like, you probably don't know what a rhetorical question is. Rhetorical questions were invented by dragons. And he's like, no, she's like, oh no, I know what a rhetorical question is. And she then proves it to him. Which is funny. So this whole time, like, she's like under like a compulsion spell where she can't lie, and so she gives away. She says that she's from America, although he doesn't. He just thinks that's a new nation that's risen up that he hasn't paid attention to, which is quite funny. Like, obviously, most other people would be like, I don't know about that country, whereas because he's a dragon and he's seen so many nations rise and fall, he's like, oh yeah, it's probably just a new country. And then he says to her, he says, like, you're dumb for not leveling. But he then asks her, and he's like, oh, you may have heard there's a strange child in wherever you're from called Ryoka Griffin. And then he's like, oh, she must be really high level as a runner, and unlike you. And he gives her, like, he asks her loads of questions about Ryoka. And Ryoka's like, yes, I know of Ryoka Griffin, which is really funny. And he's like, oh, I can't, I was given her name, but I can't find her. And Ryoka has a theory that because her name is a traditional Japanese name, and it's written in kanji instead of whatever, that this man, it won't be able to find her. So that was really interesting. I did like that. I like that idea that she's like invisible to scrying and spells that you work on your name, because her name is a kanji name, not the normal alphabet. But then in the Wandering World, they don't write English. They write their own language that Eren and Ryoka can understand from memory from early chapters. So I don't know how that would work unless Eren is also invisible to scrying and magic, and anyone from Earth is, unless you know the Earth alphabet. So that could be something. Maybe that will come down the line. And then Terry is like, right, I've got a job for you, and you need to deliver this stuff, and you need to deliver it to Azkarash, the necromancer that I bet in previous episodes I had a theory that he was not alive, he was not dead even, that he had, there's a prediction that he wasn't going to be dead, and that it was going to be his, like, tomb that's near Liscor. I don't know whether it's going to be his tomb near Liscor, but the Horns of Hammerhand did fight that Lich, and he had some undead army stuff. And the dragon was like, I don't really know where he is, but if you find a big load of zombies, that'll be where he is. So that's funny. Also, we're told that his human name was Peril Chandler, which is quite funny. Chandler is unfortunately one of those names that because of, like, Friends and stuff, Chandler is kind of funny, even though I know that a chandler is a person who makes candles, but it's still funny. So, or maybe it's funny to me. So Peril Chandler, who's the secret identity of Azkarash, he gives her, like, this he gives her loads of gear, he gives her some magical items, so he gives her a speed potion, which she can use to outrun zombies. He gives her a flame wand, and he gives her the 80 gold pieces that she was promised. So, yeah, it's a pretty interesting chapter. There's a great bit. So, right at the end, he's like, oh, I'm going to portal you back to Chellam, where you've been staying. Because she tells him where she's staying. He's like, I'm going to portal you back to Chellam. And he's like, by the way, I should introduce myself. My name is Teriarch. And he's already started the portal spell, and it's, like, activated. And he's like, what would your name be? And Ryoka just grins at him and goes, oh, my name's Ryoka Griffin. And then she teleports out. And he's, like, cursing himself. He's like, god damn it. I never thought she'd be, like, without these levels and all this sort of stuff. Because obviously, like, Ryoka's kind of an interesting character, especially in this world, because she doesn't really have... She's quite abnormal in terms of, like, she's very different the way she thinks and the way she acts to the people of In-World. Also, Teriarch mentions Magnolia, so he knows Magnolia, and I think Magnolia asked him to locate Ryoka or do something along those lines. So definitely interesting is that somehow they have a way to communicate from the high passes to Liscor or Chellams, where Magnolia is based. So yeah, lots going on. We are now seeing Ryoka being sent on this mission to try and find Teriarch. So lots going on. Really enjoyed this chapter, even though it was a shorter one. The thing that I like about this chapter is that it was very much like, this is the specific scene that I'm going to convey, and it ended on a great cliffhanger. And we do have Ryoka back next week, next chapter. So could be a lot worse. We'll get straight back into that story, I'd imagine. So yeah, I mean, that's fun. Good chapter. For those of you who are watching the series as it releases and you watched yesterday's episode, you may have seen, unfortunately, that I scheduled the wrong video. So I uploaded and scheduled the same video twice. Essentially, I uploaded my, I think, Tuesday video, again on Wednesday. Pure misclick in the folders, absolute stupidity, but one of those things where it's actually quite hard to tell once you've clicked go on the actual file whether you've clicked the right one. So I did manage to. I was literally out of the house yesterday from like 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. With work events. So absolutely mad day. And I literally got home and re-uploaded the video. So I think it probably went live actually today UK time, but yesterday US time. So I still kind of hit the right day. But today's video, going up normal time, 5 p.m, as you've seen because you're watching it. So sorry if you did see that video yesterday that went up wrong. But the fixed video is there now. So please do go back and watch it. Thanks so much for all of you who liked and watched and commented and told me that I had uploaded the wrong video. Next week's Wandering In episode might end up having 2 again next week. I'm feeling the momentum really picking up on the Wandering In. So while I will have one review next week and I have one kind of fun video idea, I think I do still have 2 slots open for Wandering In. So if that is the case, there'll be 2 more episodes next week. I'm quite happy to keep going and doing 2 episodes a week. I'm not going to force other videos out, if that makes sense. The week after, so week after next, I'm going to be on holiday the entire week. So I will be pre-filming all of my videos. So if there isn't enough space and time for me to have a review, you might end up getting like 3 or 4 Wandering In videos. So that's very exciting for those of you who are big Wandering In fans. But that's everything from me today. So thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a like. If you would like to talk to me about what happened in this chapter, or about my predictions, or about anything else apart from no future spoilers, then I will chat with you down in the comments. Still reply to every single comment that I get. And please do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. It means the world to me. It's something that I really, really appreciate whenever I get a new subscription. So thanks so much, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.